So I've got my tea again. So I thought I'd try and do something useful today. And as a dentist, although we could get into more complicated things, I thought we'd start, since I was writing in my on my website about the basics, if you like, of cleaning your teeth. And I know that sounds really obvious, but in my many years as a dentist, the one thing that has always surprised me, surprised me a bit, is how poorly such a basic educational requirement is taught, passed on, whatever. I mean, most parents don't know how to do it that well, so their kids don't. But you know, we have a profession that's geared up entirely to fixing what isn't prevented, and in view of the fact that 90-odd% of dental problems, let's just say, is preventable, it's probably not a bad idea to start with that in mind. Anyway, having said all those things, so the first thing is, and I can't remember exactly how the post went, but you can maybe have a look at it, see what you think. And feedback is always appreciated. In fact, I'll give you the website. It's, if it comes out, www.lookgoodfeelyounger.com. I'm assuming that's come out. Yeah, so www.lookgoodfeelyounger. Right, so number one, brushing. Let's do this. Number two, toothpicks. And number three, flossing. Right, brushing. First of all, you don't brush to prevent cavities. Sadly, you can't really get to the place that most cavities start anyway. So as far as toothbrushing is concerned, it's nice because it prevents you from getting bad breath, and it helps gum disease help prevent it. The thing about brushing is that if you have a tooth, just for argument's sake, this is a tooth, looking at it from the side, that's the bottom one, and there's the top one, so you're looking at it from the neighbour tooth. Where you actually get cavities, ooh, hang on, got a red pen here, is in two places. Number one is at the depth of the groove, and in view of the fact that this touches the adjacent tooth, and this is now different one, where those two teeth touch, assuming doesn't look too bad, does it? Right, it's here. These are the areas. So you can see that toothbrush, really, you're pushing your luck a bit, expecting to get the bristles in there, and how are you going to get them in here? That's this area, you brush from there, but that's about as far as you're going to get. So two ways around this. Number one, brushing is good because, as I say, it does help gum disease, but it helps reduce the bacterial load. In other words, the quantity, in this case, the quality of bacteria too. You can do what's called a Fisher sealant here, but that's for when, for kids, primarily, 99%. And here, well, sorry to tell you this, but that's going to be the only one, the flossing, because even a toothpick only goes in here. Right, so brushing is good, helps prevent gum disease, helps to freshen your breath. Fluoride, we'll come back to that because I know a lot of people have strong feelings one way or t'other. So brushing, one other thing about brushing. Okay, let's stick to brushing. So that is in a nutshell the shortcomings of brushing. Toothpicks, just quickly, and this is worth watching this just for this, right? Okay, this is again looking at the tooth from the side. Now the gum comes up, and then it goes down, and then it comes up, and then it goes down. Right. When you look at a tooth from the side, you have that little bit of gum in there, and that's called a papilla, and that's what that is. So when you put the toothpick in, and we'll say this is the outside here, the cheek side, and this is the tongue here. When you put the toothpick in, don't put it in at that angle because of this. Put it in that way so it misses that. Now you're not likely to do it from the tongue side anyway, but if you're doing it from the outside, do it that way. For the opposing tooth, the upper tooth, right? And we'll put that here, short tooth. Then what you do is you go that way. So for upper teeth, you go in but pointing down, and for for lower teeth, you go in and pointing slightly up. So in other words, it's up for the lowers and down for the uppers, and that way it just simply misses the papilla here. This is called a coll, and all of this stuff is quite delicate, so you want to be gentle with that. So toothpicks good, but once again have to stress, won't get the in between the teeth bit. Okay, last bit, floss. Yeah, I lost my sponge thing. Flossing. I'm just trying to work out the best way to draw this. So numerous ways to floss. Let's just, for argument's sake, say, right, what you're trying to do with floss is get through there so that this area is cleaned of bacteria. Now there's a reason for that, and the reason is this. I don't know if you can see this, but this circle represents tooth. In other words, the enamel. This circle represents bacteria. And this circle here represents diet, or more importantly, carbohydrates, specifically sugars. Well, we all know that. Now, it's only where those three overlap that you're going to get a cavity or decay. So, what you want to do is watch your diet, but you can't get rid of the tooth. Well, if you can, that's a bit sort of counterproductive. But what you can do is clear the bacteria. So, the takeaway here for flossing is what you do is you get in here, you floss gently because remember this area is quite delicate. So when you go in, you floss, floss, floss against the side of the tooth and pulling against that. So if you're going to do this, you pull that way. If you do that, or when you do that, you pull that way. And you go up and down until it squeaks. So the takeaway for this is when it's squeaky clean, right? So brushing, not really that valuable for prevention of decay. An important one for the prevention of gum disease. We'll go over that. Toothpicks are good, and especially when you've got more of a space in here. So toothpicks are good, but remember it's up and in when it's the lower, and down and in when it's the upper, because you want to avoid digging it into that gentle area in the middle. And flossing, all you have to remember is get it squeaky clean. Now, all of these things have a relationship to gum disease, but we're not doing that. We're doing the tooth decay bit first. Fissure sealing is valuable for kids. Has to be done early for obvious reasons. And the thing that you have to remember is, if there isn't a groove in the tooth, you don't need to do it. All right? I know that sounds pretty obvious, but we all have a habit of just doing things because we do them. And fissure sealing is great, but if there's no groove, you're not sealing any fissure, right? A lot of baby teeth, deciduous teeth as it's called, they don't have grooves, so not really much point, or they've been worn out. Not much point in fissure sealing them, but there is very good point in sealing the grooves. One last thing about kids is the easiest way to floss kids' teeth is to have them laying on your lap, just like a dentist would. Right, bit of a kind of mishmash, but hopefully that will save one cavity somewhere on the internet, and then it was all worth it, wasn't it? So thanks, see you tomorrow.